back at it. Season 4 of GOT, Game of Thrones. Season 4, it continues with book 3, correct?
Yeah, so since the Storm of Swords is such a plot heavy book, all of this stuff is still happening in book 3.
Yeah.
Because the Red Wedding happens in a Catelyn chapter.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the book, basically.
Do you want to start with Daenerys this time?
Sure. Since it has literally no impact on the rest of the story.
Yeah, she's still off doing her own thing. She goes to Meereen, which has a bunch of slaves. Not Slaver's Bay, but a different place that has a lot of slaves.
Well, Slaver's Bay is also in this season.
Yeah.
It bounces between Meereen. Yunkai, I think, is the place in season 3, but between Meereen and Slaver's Bay.
Yeah, Yunkai is very close proximity to Meereen, but her dragons are causing problems, and basically the townsfolk or the people from like the outlying areas are like, we're getting a lot of sheep and cattle going missing. Like, what's going on? And so she has to like lock up at least 2 of her dragons, I think, right?
Well, yeah, first she takes over Meereen.
Oh, right. So she does that first. So yeah, she kills a bunch of people again. Kills the bad slave people.
Slave leaders. Selmy joined her group, I think, at the beginning of this season or the end of last season. So Barristan Selmy, we never noted it, but there's a great scene in season 1 after the Lannisters take full control of King's Landing.
Oh, love this guy.
They fire Barristan Selmy, who is like literally the most legendary swordsman ever, because they realize he might cause problems down the line because he's like an honorable guy. And so they fire him, and there's this great scene where he like pulls out his sword, and all the King's Guard are like, oh, what is he gonna like charge Joffrey? And he's like, even now in my old age, I could cut through you all like a knife through butter. And he just throws the sword at Joffrey's feet and goes, melt it down and add it to the rest. Because as the first picture you had showed, the actual throne, the Iron Throne that the King of Westeros sits on, is this huge throne made of swords.
Yeah, and in the books, it's mentioned a lot more than in the show that like people who sit on it are like pricked by the swords. So you grow like scars from like actually sitting on the throne, which is obviously symbolic, right?
It's a big part of House of the Dragon, actually. The prequel show. The King Viserys II. Viserys III is the one that gets the crown of gold. Viserys II, his long ancestor before him, is the king, and he like constantly gets pricked, and all of his like cuts get infections, which is like a symbolic thing where like he wasn't meant to be king.
Yeah.
Just as a side note, because that, as you mentioned, is big in the books, where like the throne itself is like a character that holds power.
Yeah, kind of like going along with like any show that you've watched with like a crown, how the crown like rules its owner or its wearer, right? Like the crown has an embodiment or a mind of its own, a hunger of its own, which must be quenched by the wearer. Are those sun chips?
Yeah.
Oh, I could go for some sun chips.
We're not endorsed by sun chips, unfortunately.
We have limited chips in this household right now. I'm trying not to eat as many chips because I usually just once I start eating them, the bag is gone.
This is a really little bag, though.
Yeah. Anyway, the chips are down for a lot of characters in this season. Uh, Not for the slaves though. The slaves do pretty well with Daenerys as she continues to overcome the people who own slaves and kills them all.
Yeah, she has a bunch of the slave masters crucified publicly
Yeah,
and then leaves their corpses up to rot and fester.
it's great. It's great.
The
Um,
picture you chose.
um, yeah. I don't know where you want to jump from here. There's a lot of stuff that's happening up north with a lot of the main plot lines. Um,
Um, Ramsay tortures Theon more.
yeah.
Theon's sister Yara shows up and tries to save him,
Hmm.
but he's been gaslighted into thinking that he's a man called Reek so badly that he refuses Yara's aid. And so Yara's like rescue mission fails because Theon just stays there. He's like completely loyal to Ramsay Bolton now.
Yeah.
Or
What
Ramsay Snow, as he's currently called.
what's that concept called? Stockholm syndrome. It's like that, but even worse.
Yeah.
Um, and it should be noted that Ramsay Bolton, uses dogs as well,
Hmm.
for like punishment. Like,
He feeds people to dogs. He hunts people with dogs in the forest a lot.
I think that might be only in the show that he lets people, like, he hunts people down. I don't know if he does that in the books, but like it's a really like depends on how you want to look at it, because you could look at it as like almost he's taking pity on them by giving them a chance to get away. But most
He
of the
just,
time the dogs ruthlessly, the curs hunt them down and tear them to pieces.
yeah,
uh
he just loves a good killing.
However, there is one notable character that does get away. I think it's someone that he was going to marry or something. There's a woman that gets away. She survives the hunting.
In this season,
I was just commenting in general about him. I don't know where that happens, but
I that I think you're talking about maybe Lady Hornwood in the books.
probably.
I don't
Um,
remember because there's two women. He marries one and murders her in the books. I can't remember if it's Lady Hornwood or Barbary Dustin. One of
mm,
them he murders and takes her lands and castle. The other one is still alive and in Winterfell in the books with him, plotting against him with the other Northmen.
yeah.
It's none of that is in the show though. None of those
No.
characters are in the show. Jane Poole wasn't in the show. There's all this stuff that happens in the books that is like completely reduced in the show and simplified and then changed to be basically just grosser.
Yeah.
But that all comes in season 5. Season 4 ends with Ramsay using Reek Theon to take Moat Cailin, which is like an important castle that controls a choke point in the north, where Theon goes into the castle and convinces the um like Greyjoy men that are holding it to give up the castle and that Ramsay will let them go if he does. Instead, Ramsay immediately just flays all of them. But upon capturing Moat Cailin, Roose legitimizes him. So he names him Ramsay Bolton instead of Ramsay Snow. Whereas before
Hmm.
he was just Ramsay Bolt or Christ, the other way around. He was Ramsay Snow, and then he names him Ramsay Bolton, which is important later for like him being the heir to the Warden of the North title, which is what Roose now has, since he teamed up with the Lannisters to take out the Starks. Because the Starks are now completely reduced to Jon, who's just up north doing shenanigans with the Wildlings and the Night's Watch. and Bran and Rickon, who are also just up north doing shenanigans in the woods with the Reed children.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to because those overlap a lot.
Yeah, so we can flip to that where Bran has more visions and stuff, and he's learning how to warg, which is where he like teleports his consciousness into an animal. And Jojen teaches him to be able to do that with Hodor. So when Bran needs to, he can warg into Hodor and then beat people up because Hodor is like this big guy. At some point, their group splits in half, where Rickon, Asha, the wildling with him, and Shaggy Dog go off somewhere else. I forget where they head. I think they might be trying to go to Montwood Deep, like another random castle held by Stark allies, because Bran doesn't think that it's safe for them to travel north of the wall. Also, Asha's like, I don't want to go north of the wall again. There's some fucked up shit up there.
Yeah.
But when they go up there, they eventually pass really close to Craster's Keep, and they get captured by the mutineer Carl Tanner's guys there. And that intersects later with Jon, because Jon is trying to like politically take control of the Night's Watch, but failing because of there's another evil guy up there named Alistair Thorne, and they have like a vote. He's named the Lord Commander instead of Jon. And then he sends Jon with some men north to take Craster's Keep back, thinking it'll be a suicide mission.
Oh yeah, this contemptible bastard, Alistair Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And
Alistair Thorne.
it should be, yeah, sorry, not Alistair. It should be noted there's another character, a guy called Locke, who is one of the Bolton's men, who is sent up to the Night's Watch specifically to find and kill Jon, Bran, and Rickon, because
this
Roose
dude is
knows they're alive.
this dude
Because
is brutal.
yeah, Locke is also the guy that cuts off Jaime's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Locke is a different character in the books. Like there is a character like him, but he has a different name and he never goes north. There is a House Locke, which is semi-affiliated with the Boltons, but that's different. They basically just combined a few characters and took the main guy out and then sent him on a mission north. So he goes with Jon's crew to Craster's Keep, where they put Carl Tanner and his men to the sword. And in the kerfuffle, Jojen, Mira, Bran, Hodor, and Summer escape. And they don't go to Jon, even though Bran can see Jon. Jojen's like, yo, if he finds us, he's not going to let us go up to this stupid tree up in the snow. And so Bran's like, by golly, all right. And there's also a scene where Locke like tries to kill Bran, and Bran wargs into Hodor and just like breaks Locke's neck, and he's just dead.
Yeah, there's a really funny article that I just stumbled upon that's like 10 things that don't make any sense about Locke.
Oh,
just
yeah.
talking about the like insanity of his character and how he kind of like fits slash doesn't fit in. But yeah, up north there's like this convergence of a lot of the different characters that we've been following so far. Because you're talking about Jon Snow, right?
Mhm.
They're working to basically fight against a huge force of the wildlings, right?
That happens after this. They
Oh,
know
okay.
the wildlings are moving south because of Jon already having met with Mance Rayder in the previous season. But they put Craster's Keep to the sword and kill all the mutineers, and then they flee south back to the wall, where they are besieged by Mance Rayder and his massive army of wildlings.
Mm-hmm.
So the raiding party that went over the wall with Jon attacks like the gate of Castle Black, while Mance Rayder's army attacks the wall from the north. So place, which is only manned by like, I want to say 50 dudes or something, is attacked by a force of like 10,000.
Don't they
And
have
they're,
like giants as well?
yeah.
Yeah.
In the books, it's crazier. They have the ice spiders and shit. Like there's all kinds of things in this battle.
Ice spiders.
Yeah, they're like giant spiders in the book and things.
Oh God, I forgot about those. I
none.
don't like
That's
that.
not. There's more
Um,
mammoths. There's just one mammoth in the show and a couple
there
giants.
one mastodon,
Hmm.
four mastodons.
Yeah.
We'll get to mastodon's appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, so they repel the attack and then
Is this around when Stannis comes in?
yes. So
Okay.
after the battle, which is a great episode, it's like the penultimate episode of the season.
What's the
Some
name
of
of that one?
Don, The Watchers on the Wall.
Oh,
Phenomenal episode. There are some of these episodes, like most episodes, I don't know if we talked about this, jump between many storylines the same way in the books. Like there's different perspective chapters that all blend together. The Watchers on the Wall is just an episode that's this one big battle, just like
oh yeah.
Blackwater. Um, Sometimes there's these event episodes. They're almost always phenomenal. Later on, there's Hard Home, which is a great episode. That one has other stuff in it, but it has features a great big battle in the north. There's Battle of the Bastards, which is season 6, just a big event battle. Um, but yeah,
Good.
John then goes north because like Alistair Thorne is like wounded during the battle, and so he can't like tell John not to do it. Like nobody is in charge anymore. So John just like goes north by himself. He gives Ironclaw or whatever his sword's name to Sam, and he's like, I'm gonna go meet with Mance so that we don't have to kill each other anymore. And Mance is like, bro, this is some messed up shit. And John's like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing this war. This war is no good. And they like drink to their dead comrades because they're both like pretty sad and neither of them want war. And you think finally they're gonna like get somewhere. And then instead, Stannis shows up with a gigantic army and just starts massacring the wildlings and captures Mance Raider.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that implies that they did get the loan from the Iron Bank. There's a weird scene where Stannis goes to the Iron Bank to get more money to form an army, and I think that means they got it, but I'm not entirely certain.
The Iron Bank is separate from the Lannisters, right?
Yes, the Iron Bank is in Old Town,
Okay.
which is where the Citadel is, which is where all the Maesters are. It's also where the Iron Bank is, but it's called like the Free City of Old Town or Bravos, the Free City of Bravos.
Okay, I was gonna say I was gonna guess Bravos, I thought. Is Bravos technically in Essos?
No,
Okay.
should be on that handy dandy map.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's across from Westeros. That's the thing. That's why it's confusing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, so it is in Essos.
Okay. Or Essos, however you want to say it.
Yeah. So where the fuck is Old Town?
No, Old Town is in Westeros.
No, I know. I messed that up. They are different places, but Old Town is like super important in the books and just completely unimportant in the show.
Yeah. Also, just a side note, this is one of the highest rated episodes I've ever seen on IMDb. 9.6 out of 10. That's crazy.
Oh, it's a great episode.
Not that IMDb is to be trusted. We've talked about that before, but
Oh, there's Old Town. It's way in the south. Okay.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, Bravos. Bravos, I think, is
Reach.
Iron Bank.
Oh, I see where it is. And the Iron Bank, to be confirmed, is in Bravos?
Mm-hmm,
Okay. Got it. Cool.
So yeah, part of the reason Stannis comes to the north is because at some point the Night's Watch, led by Master Aemon, who we have not mentioned a single time, who is a blind Targaryen who's been living at the Wall for like 50 years, keeps sending ravens out with messages that are like, please send soldiers north. We need help. The zombies are coming. And every time people get them, they just tear the letters up. They're like, zombies aren't real. Fuck the Night's Watch. And Stannis is the only guy who, when he is given the letter by Davos, he's like, oh shit, we should probably go fight these zombies, huh?
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
the only
only,
one
because
that
he's,
listens to like the potential downfall of humanity.
well, it also helps that Melisandre is like, yeah, zombies seem bad because magic's real. Whereas everyone else is like, magic's not real and it's dumb. Whereas, Stannis is one of the few people who's seen magic happen repeatedly, so he's not just an ignorant fool. But yeah, that's the end of that plot line.
Literally killed his
north.
brother with a shadow that he birthed.
I guess so. Bran.
Demon semen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bran does get to the magic tree way up north. Jojen is killed in the process. There's like some skeletons guarding the tree, and they just kill him.
Jojen Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead. And then once they're inside the magic tree, they meet the three-eyed raven, who's just like, I've been waiting for you. And then we don't see Bran for like literally 15 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that will leave off with all that stupid magic bullshit. So we've covered that. Jaime returns to the capital, and things are still bubbling at the capital. The Martells show up because they're invited to Joffrey's wedding to Marjorie. And so the Martells are led by a man named Dorian, who lives down in Dorne. But he doesn't come to the wedding. He sends his brother Oberyn, who's this like really bombastic sex pervert who's really good at fighting. His name is the Viper.
Played by Pedro Pascal as well.
Yeah, this was like, I'm pretty sure the thing that like really launched his career.
This and a few other things, he just like happened to catch right around the same time, like Narcos. I forget when Narcos was in regards to this, but yeah, he like caught both of these and then just blew up.
And he's great in the show as Oberyn.
What's his brother's name?
Dorian?
Or
Dorian or Dorian of Dorne. Doran of Dorne.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Thanks, George.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, like that they would name him after that location, like not George, like within the world.
It would be like the King of England's name is Bingland.
Anglos.
England of England. Yeah, I'm America of America.
America.
Yeah, at any rate, Doran has like gout, and so his like feet and legs are swollen, so he's like kind of sick, and that's the reason he doesn't travel, or at least that's the excuse he gives. We don't meet him until next season, but Oberyn arrives with his wife / lady friend, Ella. I forget her name. There's a bunch of sand people. There's like Alaria.
Sand people.
They're like called the Sand Vipers.
I know. I just wanted to clarify that you weren't just calling an entire like race of people sand people.
No, they're like called like the sand snakes, the sand vipers. They have a bunch of, also whenever you have a bastard in a certain region, their last name is like of that region. So
yes,
Jon
the thing
Snow
in that region
is because in the north there's snow. So in the south, the bastards are called Sand. So there's like Alaria Sand. So yeah, there's a bunch of these sand people. All of them are really dumb. Like the people in the Riverlands, their last name's River. So there's just all kinds of these stupid naming conventions. They're all great naming conventions. It's just dumb when you lay them all out in a row. So yeah, Oberyn shows up and makes it very clear that he is there for revenge because, as it turns out, his sister was murdered decades ago because she was married to Rhaegar Targaryen. And so she was put to the sword when the sack of King's Landing happened during Robert's Rebellion. Uh, and so he sort of befriends Tyrion because he's like, "You're a funny little guy, and you seem to be hated by all the other Lannisters who I hate. So maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend." So what happens here? Oh, there's a bunch of crazy shit. I forget if it's here or after the wedding. Jamie rapes Cersei, so that's not great.
Yeah,
There's
if you were rooting for him, that's pretty hard to.
there's
Not good.
no reason for it. It doesn't happen in the books.
I was gonna say this
Uh,
does not happen in the books.
no, and it just backslides on his character arc from season 3, and then they ignore it and pretend it never happened afterward. So it's mostly
It feels like there was a writer that was like, "We got to get him to rape Cersei," and they're like, "Whoa, bro,
yeah, writing with
bro!"
one hand.
And then,
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, they there was no one to check that.
these thirsty exploitative writers of this show. It gets worse. Their extremeness is about to come to a head, but yeah, so they do that. It might be after the wedding. Joffrey gets married to Marjorie, and at the wedding, Joffrey is a huge bastard man to Tyrion, like just bullying him, just pouring wine on his head, making him like ride hogs and shit. Um, or he like tries to get him to ride pigs because there's other little people riding pigs. And then Joffrey randomly gets poisoned and dies. And
I'm so sorry.
while
All,
he's
all I'm picturing is is the baseball team in state college when they had
the
they
chimps
had
on the pigs.
the chimps on the pigs that like in between innings of baseball. Not that little people are monkeys. It's not what I'm saying. All I was picturing was pigs running around. People are things riding them. Oh boy, pigs being ridden just gets me going. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Get some eat some chips. So yeah, Joffrey finally dies. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it's the background that I've been waiting for. It's this great picture. Unfortunately, on my screen, it doesn't show Tyrion's face. But yeah, he is right in the background, just kind of taking it all in. Do we know who poisons him or how he dies? Like, is it made clear before he dies?
Not before he dies. No.
Right, it's revealed after, right? Okay. I couldn't remember.
It's revealed, I'm pretty sure, like 2 episodes later.
Gotcha.
Actually, I think it might just be the next episode.
Okay.
Sansa is whisked away during the wedding by Sir Dantus, some guy whose name isn't important. He's been in the show before. He's just some like clown that Joffrey mocked and tortured repeatedly. So Sansa gets away, and then Cersei immediately has Tyrion arrested because it looks like Tyrion might be guilty, and Tyrion has publicly threatened Joffrey repeatedly and hit him. There's all this stuff, so he gets arrested, and then that sets up the trial of Tyrion. And so there's a big public trial with Tyrion, and Shay is brought out and testifies against him. Basically, all of the stuff Tyrion's done over the last 2 seasons comes back to bite him in the ass here, because he has basically just made a bunch of enemies rather than friends in King's Landing. And so everyone is like, yeah, he's a pretty sketchy dude. Seems like he probably did this shit. And so then when it comes to him talking at his own trial, he has this great monologue. It's like one of the last great moments for Tyrion as a character in the show, where he says like, I've been on trial my whole life, like fuck all you. I should have let Stannis come in here and kill all of you. You're all bastards. And then he ends his big monologue by saying like, I demand a trial by combat. I'll let the gods decide my fate. And then everyone's like, ooh, shit's about to get real. But Jamie won't do it because Jamie only has one hand and it's not his good hand. So Jamie's like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna do this for you.
Yeah, it's funny because it's funny that, well, it's funny and sad because Tyrion basically the whole time is like, I've been on trial my whole life, which is interesting because it's not, he hasn't been fighting his whole life. He has been fighting, but he gets other people to fight for him because he can't fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a tiny man, like he can't defend himself really. He has to use his wit in order to defend himself. So he goes to the person that has always defended him, Jamie, his brother, who can't anymore. Is Bronn there or Bronn isn't there?
Bronn's there. Bronn visits him in his jail cell, and he's like, Bronn, you gonna do the fight for me? And Bronn's like, actually, I just got named a lord, and I'm gonna get married.
Yeah, Bronn just sells out.
Well, because the bit between the two of them has always been like, whenever they offer you something, I'll pay double. And he's like, you can't really get any better than, being in line to inherit a castle and being married to a hot lady. So sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm not going to die
bud.
for you, because the fight is against the Mountain, who we've already established is like an absolute unit, just a huge guy who crushes through people. And then, lo and behold, who visits Tyrion but Oberyn Martell, the guy who wants to get vengeance on the Mountain for raping and killing his sister. So Oberyn's like, yeah, I'll fight for you, man. I hate that guy. I'd love to kill him. And then, so that's the fight that's happening behind me, is Oberyn versus the Mountain, and the episode is called The Viper in the Mountain.
To also mention, like, the Mountain, the guy that plays the Mountain, his name is Hafthor Julius Bjornsson. Believe he is Icelandic, and he is an Icelandic professional strongman who is genuinely terrifying. He is 6'9" and weighs 410 pounds.
He's one of 4 people that plays the Mountain, you mean?
Right.
Because that actor, just like several other characters, they're like, switch the actor. Nobody will notice.
Well, yeah, they show his face and his brawn, like when he's shirtless. Mm-hmm. But then, like, when he isn't shirtless, it could be any number of other people. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, in season 1, it's a different actor, and then in season 2, it's another different actor, and then in this season, it's this guy. And then this guy stays as the actor the rest of the show.
Right. Like, Conan Stevens is a guy. He's, holy shit, he's 7'1", though.
Yeah. Oh. No, he's a monster of a character.
I mean, I assume they all, this other guy, Ian White, is 7'1" as well. Holy hell. What?
They're all giants. So yeah, Oberyn and him battle. Oberyn basically goes full Indigo Montoya on him. The same way Indigo Montoya is like, you killed my father, prepare to die.
That's racist. Just because they both speak Spanish.
Huh? The guy that plays Indigo Montoya is like a New York Jew. Manny Patinkin?
Just forget I said
famed New York theater actor.
Yay, Dany saved all the slaves. She did it.
Yeah, there's a lot of white savior stuff in Marine. Literally a scene where a bunch of poor, dirty brown people are holding a very, very white Dany with blonde hair and moving her through a crowd. Yeah, Oberyn and Clegane fight. And it seems like Oberyn is winning because he just keeps repeating, like, you raped my sister, you murdered my sister, prepare to die. Like, he just keeps saying it over and over again, and eventually gets Gregor on the ground because he like slits both of his calves. And Gregor is just like laying on the ground, sprawled out. And Oberyn could just kill him at any moment, but he doesn't because he's like, I want you to admit it. I want you to tell me who gave you the order, because he wants to humiliate Tywin publicly and get proof of this wrongdoing. But Gregor just sweeps his one foot, flips him over, and then crushes his head. Just instantly kills him. And it's another, like, one of the most shocking moments of the show, like the Red Wedding.
And you're
or like Black Water.
And you're obviously rooting for Pedro Pascal, because why wouldn't you?
He's really likable, charismatic, and completely in the right.
Exactly. Like, he wants to get revenge for what happened to it was his daughter or his sister?
His sister.
His sister, yeah. And so you're like waiting for it to pay off, and you're like, oh my God, yes, he's doing it. He's doing it. But then he does the thing that baddies do at the end of movies where they're like, I'm going to tell you the entire, like, synopsis of what I was doing this whole time.
You caught me monologuing.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
Sly dog.
His skull is treated like a watermelon.
It's brutal. And the other main reason, like, and this is something that's just gone in later points in the show, like, this moment has all this history behind it and importance, and we already know of Clegane, so, like, seeing him fight a new character is fascinating, but it's all motivated by story, because it's for Tyrion's life. Tyrion's basically the main character, or one of them.
Exactly.
So now we just killed a cool new character. Clegane's, like, mortally wounded, we find out, because Oberyn used, like, a bunch of poison on his spear. I don't know how that's allowed, but he just poisoned
It definitely was not allowed. It absolutely was not allowed.
But yeah, now Tyrion's doomed to be sentenced to death. And then in the season finale, Jaime breaks him out of jail, but instead of going to a ship where Varys is waiting for him, he decides to go up to his father's chambers, where he finds Shay, his dirty whore of a whore. So he strangles her to death, and then he grabs a crossbow and goes and kills his father.
Yep.
And then he gets on the ship and leaves with Varys to go to meet Daenerys.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just wanted to also point out the names of the Cleganes. Like, you have the Hound, obviously, is one guy who is also known as Dog, which is just amazing. And then his brother, who is obviously Gregor Clegane, who is the Mountain, but he's also known as the Mad.
Rides.
Yes, but also the Mad Dog. So his Tywin Lannister's Mad Dog is what he's referred to quite frequently. So just like the names and the nicknames themselves just work like perfectly. Like, they're very believable for people like during like medieval times or something. This fight also is great because it's like it's kind of like showing two different cultures clashing and two different fighting styles clashing as well.
Culture crash.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, because in your picture, I don't know if people can see it, but you have a guy with a spear, and does he have a shield at all? No, a guy with a spear and hardly any armor versus a dude who's fully kitted out with armor and a massive sword. Yeah, and obviously, like, the symbolism there, like, who's gonna reign, who's in the right. Obviously, the person who isn't in the right is the victor, but is mortally wounded in the process. Yeah, so sorry, I don't want to get too bogged down, but
no, we're good.
Just a really, really solid episode on the whole. This one is the Bells. Or
this
no.
is the Mountain and the Viper.
I'm sorry. The Bells is like way further down.
Yeah, the Bells is the penultimate episode of the whole show.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh boy.
So that one's a brutal one.
I fully plan on blitzing through those. Hope you're aware of that.
Yeah. Well, so we'll try to get into because we're not even halfway through the show yet.
Yeah.
The other arcs this season, Arya and the Hound are heading towards the Vale So we didn't
Right,
we
right.
left off with them in season 3 that the Hound was taking her to her mom. As they arrive at the twins to meet up with the Starks, the Red Wedding happens. And so
Oh,
the Hound is like, "Oh fuck." So they just turn around and leave. So then season 4 they're traveling and basically they have a really funny dynamic. The Hound is like just an apathetic nihilistic dude and Arya's like an assassin wannabe. She keeps saying like a list of names of people she wants to kill. And they
yeah.
like
And the Hound is like, little child, what's going on with you? Like you shouldn't become me. Like, please
mm,
don't become me. And she's like, I'm gonna kill all these people.
they there's a great scene in not the Hot Pie Inn, but actually no, it is the Hot Pie Inn.
All roads lead to hot pie.
At the Hot Pie Inn, they get some chicken. There's like a funny scene where Sandor has to eat some chicken and then they kill a bunch of people. Sandor gets wounded while he's there, and his wound like starts to fester, which is a reference to the book on what happens to him in the books. But they eventually head north because they're going to go to the Vale so the Hound can sell her to her Aunt Liza. Now we'll transition before they get to the Vale. We'll go to let me take a quick break here.